Well, George, how are
Oh,
you?
John, how are you?
Good, good. So listen, anybody watching? We did a nice recap of the Bills Packers game. We also did a little video called "State of the Bills." It's after the bye week now. They're almost midway through the season. If you have any interest, please look for them. They should be already be up on YouTube. But right now, we wanted to talk. The Bills made a trade just before the trade deadline, bringing in, is it Naheem Hines?
Naheem Hines, yeah.
Running back most recently, well, actually with from Indianapolis.
Mhm.
They gave up, was it a sixth round pick?
Uh, you know,
Sixth or
that's
seventh.
not sixth or seventh, yeah.
All right. Do you have any thoughts on? Well, let's start with we talk about trade deadline. So, what do you think about the trade that they did make?
Well, they made a couple of trades. One was for Naheem Hines and they traded Moss to the Colts for Naheem
Moss
Hines.
is gone. That's right.
And Moss, listening to the GM here, what's his name?
Brandon Bean.
Bean. He talked highly of Moss, did all the right things and said he's going to be an important player in this league and blah, blah, blah. Okay. But not for us. But he got Naheem Hines. He did admit that even going back as a rookie, they had their eyes on Naheem Hines for a while. And that he had put out feelers for Naheem Hines during the trade here, and he didn't hear a word back. And it was like 10 minutes to 4, 10 minutes before the deadline. All of a sudden he gets the call, they want to make the trade.
Yeah,
So they must have been trying to see if they could get anything better than what they did get from us. And when they figured this was the best they were going to get, sounds like the Colts took it. But Naheem Hines, again, he's not a big guy, but he's a fast kid. He can run with the ball, and he's an outstanding receiver. So here we go again with receivers out of the backfield. And maybe this is going to be third time the charm. We tried to get J.D. McKissick, but then that fell apart. So we picked up Duke Johnson. He's sitting on the practice squad. We drafted James Cook. He hasn't really done anything in that way. And now we're going to bring in Naheem Hines. And I'll be honest with you, John, right now at this point in the season, he looks like a pretty good player. And I think this could work out for the Bills. Here's a guy that they finally can have him leak out of the backfield. And when this pressure comes for Josh Allen, he's got somebody that he can dump it off to who's quick enough to beat a linebacker and make a miss.
Yes, he's very fast.
He might pick up 5 to 10 yards on a dump off pass. That's huge. But we'll see how the Bills use him.
There you go.
We'll see how they use
And
him.
if they use him.
And if they use them. Up till now, they haven't. Could it be because of the people that they have, the players they have? Well, who's picking these players? They're picking them. It's like nobody else is picking them for them.
It's
So let's see if they finally got a good player that they'll use. I mean, I wish this kid the best of luck, and I'm happy for him. He's going to be on a team that has a possibility to go all the way, certainly to be in the playoffs, maybe even be a high seed in the playoffs. That's great for him and his family, and I hope it works out, and I hope we win. But whether or not they use him, but the kid already made that comment. He say, like, what are you going to do? Well, they and Bean talked about it too. They see him as the punt return.
Yep.
And he goes, I haven't done kickoff returns in a couple of years, but I'm willing to do it. I will do whatever they want me to do, even if it means I never touch the ball. Whatever they tell me to do, that's what I'm going to do. They want me to return punts, I'm going to return punts.
So it sounds like, from a personality standpoint, and they got someone who's going to come into the environment and might feel at home here.
Yeah, and they talked about being talked about Shakir saying, well, Shakir is doing a good job on the returns, but that's not allowing him to develop as a wide receiver. So somehow being a punt returner is stopping him from receiving the ball. I'm not sure I understand any of that, but that sounds like a word salad for we think Naheem Hines might be better.
It does. All right.
Will
So
they use him for more than that? I don't know.
I don't either. I can tell you this. Look, and of course, people who work on the radio, sports talk radio, literally their job is to talk. And you talk about word salad, you don't really know how much to put by the words. But Sal Capaccio did say something interesting because I was thinking along the lines of you is like, look, you got a guy that's played football since he was 7, and now you're telling me that running back punts is so much work that it's going to take away from his ability to run routes.
Yeah, no, come on, tell me something that I'm going to believe here.
What he did say was there are times when the quarterbacks are throwing routes and Shakir has to go with the special teams and he's not getting all the reps.
Okay, all right, fine.
Well, that is something. Okay, so it's something. But I laughed when you were talking about like what this guy maybe could do on the field because I don't know. Like I don't know if we're going to see a difference. From the offense might still just be Singletary to the left. Singletary might just be continue to be the guy, and they'll occasionally work in James or Cook, like they did against Green Bay.
We had punt returners in the past, including Isaiah McKenzie. Why not keep Shakir in the receiving room to learn these routes? And McKenzie can catch the punts. He's done it. Yeah. Why all of a sudden it's, oh, well, we had Shakir and now that's taken away from, they should have been taken away from his time in the receiving room. They didn't draft him to punt return the ball.
No, I hear you. No, I hear you. I don't know the answer to that. I don't. The couple of guys that we've seen them draft that look like 6th round, 7th round, that really look like, hey, their way of making this team might be returning kicks. Those guys are gone. Mm-hmm. They're not even on a practice squad now.
Well, you got the one that's injured there, Marquez Stevenson.
Okay,
and then Crowder got injured.
I forgot. So I thought he was. I forgot he was injured.
And your emergency guy Hyde, he's out for the season. So all of a sudden they're looking for punt returners. Well, they've already got one on the team in Isaiah McKenzie. So that's the case because they signed him to another 2-year deal that somebody's saying, well, look, we're paying him to be a receiver now. I don't want him stuck on the practice on the punch squad.
You may have hit it on the head when you said Hyde was a backup, but a backup that they really trusted.
Mm-hmm.
And they also lost Jamison Crowder. Right. Although he hadn't been with the team, he was a veteran doing it, and they seemed to have faith in his ability.
Right.
This could be like when they're stacking up their strengths and weaknesses, they might have been saying, like, we're a little weak here.
Right.
But having a room full of guys that could do this, maybe we are a little short. So, and that could be all this was. They gave up Moss, who was on the team, but every other game didn't dress for game, right? He was on the inactive squad, not the practice squad, just was inactive during game day about half the time. And he really wasn't the primary backup for Singletary anymore. If your primary backup running back is not dressing, he's not your backup. Right? So they didn't lose much there, is what I'm trying to say.
Now, here's an interesting thing. I think it's going to be interesting to see. When you had Shakir punt returning, and now you're bringing in Hines, which is a running back. You already got 2 running backs dressed on the field, which is Cook and Singletary. So did they have Moss dressed even the last few weeks? So it's like they're going to have to dress this third running back. So is Shakir going to even be dressed, or is they going to find him on the bench, sitting there on the sidelines, talking about how we need him to be a receiver? I don't get it, John. And until we see what players are in that game on Sunday, we're not going to know. And yeah, I think if you got a guy with that kind of speed that can catch the punt return and he's evasive, I think that's great. And use him. It can only help the game. But if he's going to be on the squad and he's dressed, who's not going to be dressed?
Well, George, I think you hit it. So the other thing to note is that I forgot his name. Touchdown Jesus is back.
Yeah.
So that takes up one of your. If you're going to use him on special teams and have him be a backup receiver, maybe Shakir isn't going to be dressing so much. We're going to have to find out. That's going to be very interesting. Who doesn't dress?
And yet in the game, I saw him. They run on pass plays, and he's wide open. They're not throwing to him anyway.
No.
And it's not like he drops the ball or he's ineffective. They just weren't using him.
Well, if he's not going to be thrown to, you could use anybody for that.
Yeah, right. You could put Nyheim Hines can line up in the slot.
He has many times, I think. Yeah.
He has many times. And he's a guy that could be it could be dressed. He could be a triple threat. He could be the punt returner. He can come in as a running back, a gadget player. He can line up in the slot. And I hear myself saying McKenzie. So now I'm like, we'll see. Maybe Shakir will be the guy out there, and McKenzie won't.
That could be too.
It's going to be interesting to see, because if you just replace a guy that can do gadget plays, why do you need two gadget players out there?
No, you're right. So, like you said, who they're going to dress, it's still going to be interesting. We had gotten kind of used to them not dressing Moss, really.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to have to see just who they choose. Maybe it'll be a defensive lineman. Well, Shaquille.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he won't dress. The defensive end there.
Shaq Lawson?
Yeah, maybe he won't dress. I don't know.
Did you see that they dropped from the practice squad, they dropped Brandon Bryant and they dropped Isaiah Hodgins? Now, I don't know if they ever signed him back or not.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So,
look,
interesting.
As much as we liked and enjoyed watching Isaiah Hodgins play in the preseason, I think that's, as far as the Buffalo Bills go, I think that's his career.
Yeah, I think he's done. I think he's done. Well, anyway, that's not the only player they got, Nyheim Hines. They brought back, help me out here. I don't know.
The safety.
Yeah, they brought back the safety, Dean Marlowe. Now, this isn't they brought him back, or they brought him back again. This is his third stint with the Bills.
Yeah.
And he is so happy to be back. And the latest projection I heard was that maybe he might be not quite as good as Damar Hamlin. But when you don't have any starting safeties, he might be out there pretty soon, pretty quick.
Well, one thing, just to lessen your anticipation a little bit, look, he should know the system, but this is a guy that was out of the league. This wasn't a trade. I think they just picked him up because he's a free agent. I don't think that was a trade. He was out of the league.
At least it's good backup to have somebody. At least he'll have somebody that knows the defense. He just got to work himself into playing condition. And if you need him, if you need a player, he's there. It's better putting him in there than trying to put a rookie cornerback in a safety spot, you know? And then what the Bills didn't do in the trade deadline, John, is they did not get a wide receiver.
No. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm reading. I'm trying. I don't know who they got. It was a trade, so he was not out of the league. They traded with the Atlanta Falcons for him.
Mhm.
So it cost him a 7th-round pick to get Dean Marlowe. All right. So my mistake.
So that's like most of their good defenders in the backfield. They're 7th rounders, but they didn't get a wide receiver. But you got to know why, and I got to know why, and I believe it's because we're getting OBJ. I believe they're going to sign Odell Beckham Jr. if he is healthy enough to play, and even if it's only in the playoffs, I think they'll bring him in. And I think that's what they're not making the big splashes for. I think Bean in this trade deadline, he did a couple of things to help the team. Nyheim Hines could be a game-breaking type running back, but they'll never use him. So for that. So, they got a punt returner and they got a backup safety. Okay, so that's what they did in the trade deadline. And they're saving the meat for the Odell Beckham signing. And I believe that it's going to happen.
I would like to see OBJ be on the team. I go back to the year OBJ came out and the Bills drafted Sammy Watkins. Now I did find out something that I did not know. I'm sure it was readily available and people do know this, but for whatever reason, I didn't. Going into that draft, Sammy Watkins stated openly he wanted to go to Buffalo. Buffalo was his favorite team growing up. He watched Bills games. He wanted to be a Bill.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that actually at the time. So when in hindsight, they moved up to sixth position in the draft and took Sammy Watkins. I guess I understand a little better. For all I know, Odell Beckham Jr. might have been telling them or having his agent tell the Bills that he didn't want to go there, right?
Right.
I always was like, they could have stayed right where they were and not made any trade, kept their other picks, and just picked OBJ because they picked before the Giants picked that year. But they didn't. But I kind of feel like this would be like rectifying that. Go get him now when you need him.
Yeah.
Because if they had gotten him back then with Tyrod Taylor, he wouldn't have been happy here.
No.
So, and he probably wouldn't have flourished the way he did with
No, he would. No.
Manning as his quarterback. So I think it probably worked out better for him. And now it might be a little karma. Let's get our guy that we should have gotten years ago.
When I think about the trades, I see Nyheim Hines as a guy that can do the gadget plays and line up in the slot, which means you really don't need McKenzie because you got Shakir learning. And I don't mean they're going to get rid of him today, but when they bring in Beckham, what do they need McKenzie for? If you got Hines that can do the gadget plays and you got Beckham that can line up in the slot and you got Shakir learning the offense, what do you need McKenzie for?
Well,
is he going to be the punt returner?
Hold on. I'm having a vision. I'm seeing Odell Beckham Jr. on the left side as a wideout.
Where Gabe Davis is?
Gabe Davis. Oh, I'm sorry. So on the right side, and Gabe Davis on the left.
With Diggs in the slot? Well, you could do that too.
And you know what you have then? You have a wide receiver core as good as the Dolphins.
Absolutely. Maybe better. Because now you got 3 incredible wide receivers, and then you can add your tight end.
If OBJ comes back healthy, and then if he's healthy and able to perform, and that doesn't have to be a rental for 1 year.
OBJ is only 29 years old. You can get a few more years out of him. Sign him for 3 years. Sign him his money.
Sign him if he wants. Yeah, I don't know how many receivers you can afford to make. What the hell what did Tyreek Hill get? How many million did he pick up? He's the highest paid receiver. And then Diggs got his extension. I don't know if he can make, I don't know if they can. There is a salary cap. It does actually exist. So I'm not sure, but whatever they.
Salary cap's going up, and we don't know.
Yeah, you can push it off.
I wouldn't worry about it yet. Yeah.
This year is a bonus. You get, other than that, he makes a league minimum. You stretch it out over 3 or 4 years. You could put those voidable years at the end. Do whatever it takes. Get this guy in. Sign him for a number of years. Hope he stays healthy. And have yourself
get us in a position where we have the ability to legitimately win 3 or 4 Super Bowls. And we'll worry about the next 10 years after that. But get us in that position. You'll still have Josh Allen, and you can still get some players around him, and they still may be an exciting team and may even get in the playoffs. But get us the ability, at least a chance to win 3 or 4 Super Bowls, something the Bills haven't had in decades. And I think everybody would be pretty happy.
So you and I believe it. You and I would like to see it. I have no idea if, this is the wide receiver group, except for Jamison Crowder. This is the wide receiving group that they decided to go into a season where they had championship aspirations with. I mean, now they lost Crowder. They didn't bring in anyone to even help them with Crowder. So whether they think that Shaquille could do that or what, but they didn't. So it certainly makes sense that OBJ might be in the future. I certainly hope so.
How many years you got Von Miller that's going to be able to be that top dog on our defensive line?
Look, he's 33. You might get a couple of good years out of him. You're right.
So you marry that with OBJ on the other side and get us the chance to maybe be involved in a couple, 2, 3 Super Bowls before they fizzle out, and let them get some rookies they can develop behind that.
Right. That's weird. You got Groot, you got Boogie Basham, you got Beneza all trying to develop underneath them. The next couple of drafts, I know this wasn't supposed to be the state of the Bills, but the next couple of drafts, maybe offensive linemen, fucking finally.
Yeah.
Not the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round developmental guys. Go get some guys that can fucking play on the offensive line.
I'm with you. That's what I'm saying.
That'll change your running game right there.
I'd rather see them I'd rather see them use their trades or use their picks as capital to come away with 3 great players that are going to make a difference rather than 7 where 5 are developmental. 1 is maybe a lock and 1 is pretty good, because we've been doing that and we haven't come away with that many great players. Not Spencer Brown, not Ed Oliver, not Ford. He certainly didn't. Not Singletary. Not, you know what I mean?
Moss.
It goes on and on and on.
Yeah. All right. So this was supposed to be about the trade deadline. We talked a little bit about what they didn't do. So they didn't go out and get a receiver. We're hoping that's because they're going to bring in OBJ. They did not go out and get an offensive lineman.
Nope.
I know that Spencer Brown is kind of hobbling right now, but they must be anticipating that he'll return healthy and that they got the offensive line that they're going to finish out the season and hopefully go to the playoffs with. So knock on wood that they don't get any more injuries there, but
you might see some 2 tight end sets to stop this 5-man rush that's coming at Josh Allen, and 2 wide receivers, and a running back that can slip out like Nyheim Hines or Cook or one of these guys that can catch a ball. And we'll see what happens. But I think that's going to take away from their high scoring. But I'm not worried about the high scoring. Win 24-14 every week, I'll be a happy camper.
All right, fair enough. Anything else you want to throw out there?
No, it's been an exciting first half of the year, and I'm ready for the rest. Yeah.
It's been fun. I've had every Sunday off so far this season, and I hope
Yeah.
that continues. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Bye, everybody.